Welcome to the Tavernside Chats with Will.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Tavernside Chat for today. I'm your Tavernkeeper Will, joined by our wonderful guest. But before we do that, just a couple things real quick. We are also joined by the disembodied ghost that sometimes speaks into my head, Jake. We also check out our Discord server in the Discord server in the towel section down below. We also have a link to our merch store. There's new items showing up there all the time, so please go ahead, check that out. If you are just joining us in the tavern for the first time, this is our interview show where we bring in people within the D&D space to discuss all kinds of topics that they are passionate about. Today we have a wonderful guest. You know her from the D&D Actual Play podcast, Tales from the Other Side. With their recent season, The Last Colossus, they play Aegon Mathis. Is that how you pronounce that? Aegon?
That is correct, yeah.
They play Aegon Mathis, and you know them from the Green Nightmare one-shot. Jordan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing so awesome. Thank you so much for having me on here.
Of course, Jordan. For the audience, Jordan and I go way back. We both met during a production at our college. I was the camera PA for them. And
for a Zoom play, no less.
For a Zoom play. It was in the horrible year of 2020.
It
and
really bonds a person.
Really bonds a person. There's no bonding like trauma bonding. But yes, today our subject, we're going to talk about that kind of weird overlap of theater kids, or like kind of the theater space, and D&D. But before we jump into that, what is your history when it comes to TTRPGs? How long have you been playing them? How did you get into them? All stuff like that.
Yeah, so I actually only started playing TTRPGs when I was in college, but I have been a longtime subscriber and fan of the whole McElroy brand. I grew up in West Virginia, and so I was introduced to them when I was still a teenager. And so the minute that they started dropping the Adventure Zone, I was all about that. So I've been a long time actual play podcast listener. And then only, I want to say, sophomore year of college, so when I was around like 19, 20, is when I started playing in my first like actual campaign.
Wonderful.
And since then, it's been like gaining momentum down, like a rock rolling down a hill. I recently started my own Discord server for a bunch of people, friends and acquaintances, to get together and play one-shots or multiple campaigns that are like low commitment and show up whenever you want. And now we play usually 2 to 3 times a week.
It is truly, like, as someone who's in that server, it is like an amazing thing to just like have that there of like, oh, I want to play when you have that urge to play D&D, just to be like, hey, I feel like running a game right now, or I feel like testing out a one shot. It is a wonderful thing just to have that there.
I feel really, really proud of building that up in the way that we, my friend Felix and I, we partnered together to make that idea come to fruition.
Yes, Felix, also a friend of the pod. He was also in the villains episode that we did together. So our other kind of major thing that we're talking about today, we also are kind of talking about the wonderful, wonderful world of theater too. As a kind of talking about the idea of, as you phrased it, when I asked you like, hey, what would you like to come on and pitch? You brought up the idea of weaponizing your BFA. What is your history when it comes to theater?
I have been a long-time theater kid. I decided when I was 11 years old that this is it, and there was nothing else for me, and I was going to be an actor for the rest of my life. I used to be like a 6, 7, 8-year-old with all the lights off in my living room with my Wicked CD playing, like belting out "No One Mourns the Wicked" and like all that stuff. Like I knew what was going on. That's been my history, childhood history. And then I went and got my BFA at Ball State University, and now I live in Chicago and work as an actor.
On the as what Jake would say, the superior time zone, essentially.
I agree.
This is a wonderful question I always like to ask people. Do you have a favorite musical, or like do you have a favorite straight play, or like what is the one that you would currently say is your favorite?
Yes. So I'm really I have to be honest, I'm not as much of a musical theater person as I used to be. I've kind of gone through a phase, but
Mhm.
I'm like slowly getting back into it. And I wouldn't say it's like, I mean, all-time favorite musical has got to be Hadestown. I
That's good.
saw it. Oh my God, it just blew my mind. I actually saw it in like with the original cast, New York City, Times Square, March of 2020,
No
1
way.
week before we all got sent home.
That's crazy.
Oh, dude, I saw it twice. I was so good. I went back the next day. I was like, I have to go again. So that's probably like my all-time favorite. I've recently been introduced to a few more like smaller musicals by a friend of mine, JJ, who's also in the server.
RPJJ.
He introduced me to a musical called Octet, which is an a cappella musical about a bunch of scientists, and I just think it has a really interesting sound.
Yeah, an acapella music that would be rough chorally, but
Oh yeah.
that's gotta be like it's called octets.
It's called Octet.
Okay.
The cover art is the Fool tarot card.
Ooh. Okay, that's wonderful. I mean, all-time favorite for me is Frankenstein the musical.
Ooh, I
Um,
don't know that one.
it is there's one song from it like there's a song in it where Frankenstein, as like Victor, as he's building the body, it's called "Birth to My Creation," and it's like this like big power ballad of
Such a
him.
good musical moment.
It's such a great moment within the actual play itself. But on the topic of Hadestown, my Hadestown thing is I got to see it with the West End cast with the first ever female Hermes too.
Ooh.
It is like that is a musical that really kills to see live.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like
The
there's just
soundtrack even kills. Because
the
sometimes
soundtrack's
listening to a
perfect.
musical soundtrack, you don't always like get the full, like you don't feel like you get the whole picture or experience. And that is a soundtrack where you get the whole picture and then you go in and you watch it live and you go, oh no, I didn't.
It's like it's like when you're watching like my best thing is like if you're watching a movie and then like the aspect ratio shifts and you're like, oh, okay, I understand it. Oh, there's more to it. Like it is
Mm-hmm.
a wonderful. There's so many just great moments in that. And we already jumped off of the deep end into like
So
getting on top.
what?
That is the premise of this show. So I made this joke earlier of like we were talking about like the Venn diagram between like this and this circle. What do you think it makes the Venn diagram of theater kids and D&D nerds a circle as well?
I unfortunately have a very biased perspective because the first people that I started playing TTRPGs with were theater kids, and so for me, for a very long time, the Venn diagram was a perfect circle. I have since discovered that that's not necessarily true. But I still think that there's a decent amount of overlap. I think it's less just theater kids, but more people that are interested in storytelling. So
Mhm.
any story of storytellers, even if they're just fans of stories. Like I have a friend who does like some painting. She paints pottery and she's really artistic in that way, but she's never like done acting, she's never done theater, and she's never really like written a lot of story, but she reads a lot of fan fiction and she loves actual play podcasts, and she does some of the most interesting character work I've ever seen in my life. And so it's just, I think the Venn diagram of perfect circle is people interested in storytelling.
I think I think there's something really interesting to that of like because I think both mediums really allow themselves to get really deep into kind of the richness of character. Like, I mean, at least on our actual play podcast, like when I'm playing Hunter, I have used a lot of the techniques I've learned in acting classes to like put myself into that character, which I mean for can sometimes go wrong when you're playing someone that is as deeply fucked up as the character that I play Hunter. But it's
always a balance.
It's a balance there. But yeah, I think that there's a lot of like applicable skills in both worlds.
Oh yeah. I use my BFA constantly in my TTRPG. Like I said, weaponized BFA. I also was floating the idea of like, I got my BFA, so you don't have to, or just something like that, right? Because I think there's so many skills there.
Well, on the topic of that, when you are playing, what are some of the things that you do from your acting training that you bring into the tabletop space when you are performing a character?
I think the number one most important thing, or there's two very important things. One, unlearn your impulse control. That's like the first thing they teach you in your acting BFA classes. And it makes you an incredible scene partner. And then the second thing is partner with everything. Partner with the world, partner with what the DM is giving you, partner with the own feelings that arise within your body to what's going on. Those are like my two biggest pieces of advice. And going back to the first one, unlearning your impulse control. Oftentimes I feel like people get scared of what their instincts are because we tend to moralize a lot of the ways that we move through the world of like, I can't do this because it makes me a bad person, or I can't do this because it's selfish. But we have to trust the people that we're playing with and trust our own brains as a storyteller to an extent, and let ourselves be free. Let yourself be cringe and embarrassing. Make a big choice. It will give your scene partners and your friends more to respond to. You are doing them a favor by doing that, actually.
Yeah, there's some of the like greatest moments I've had in TTRPGs is when some of my players have made like a very extreme choice in a given scenario. There is a
it's such a blessing as a DM when a player makes a big choice.
Really,
I'm like, thank God.
Especially like if there's a moment where a lot of people aren't doing something, or like there's that kind of moment, if someone just comes in and like with this extreme idea and you're like, okay, cool, this is something to go off of.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, like when you have like, because I play with mostly theater kid. My core table that I play with in my home game, we recently just finished up a 2-year campaign.
Wow.
It is everyone in there is a theater kid minus one. And
you always have to have one token.
You have the one token non-theater kid.
Yeah, one token
and he's probably listening to this, and hey, we still love you, Satanta. You're still
valid.
Even though he's not a theater kid, I think that also goes back to that storyteller idea where he's a really good storyteller. He's someone who has a key idea of kind of character and what someone would do in a given situation. And like kind of like the idea of putting yourself to the mindset. But when it comes to like the idea of unlearning there, like what are some of the bars when somebody is like playing? Like how do you get somebody out of that space in that case?
Yeah, I think this is such a cop-out answer, but I do think it's going to look different person to person because it depends on what the barriers are. Generally, what we're running up against is just a lot of learned shame and embarrassment. And we're also, I assume most of us want to be a good friend and a good player at the table. And so I hope so, right? And so it's like,
if you're playing with someone who doesn't want to be a good friend, get them out of your table.
Out. Leave that table, or kick them out, man.
Kick them out, that too. Or if it's just all people who don't want to be good friends, and you're playing
out of there.
Get out of that table. There is so many places you can play at.
There's so many more places to play now. What did you ask me? Oh, unlearning. Right. How do you get somebody out of that mindset? So it's like, what are the things that you're embarrassed about? And like figuring out what those are, like what you're running up against. There's kind of like two ways through. I think one is just diving off the deep end, taking the cold plunge and just making the biggest, most embarrassing choice. When I also write some of my own works. I don't know if I mentioned that to you or not, but when I was writing one of my first one-person shows, I had no idea what the only goal I went in with was I want to do something that scares me. And so sometimes you just have to make a choice that feels scary to you. And then everybody's like, oh my God, that was such an awesome choice. And you have done, or sometimes it's embarrassing and it's bad. And then your friends all get to have a giggle and then you move on. Like that's the worst thing that's going to happen, right? And then the other way through is just get super, super interested. Just get super, super interested, period. Find the things that are interesting, whether that be this one specific game mechanic or this one character voice that I really like, or this one like kind of bit that this character does, like whatever it is, find something that is really interesting to you and just like start pursuing that.
I do. I think that there's a really key thing that you bring up there in that second point of find something that interests you about your character. Because I think that a lot of people, like, I think that it's a key part of character creation there is when I'm thinking about, like, playing a character for a one-shot or a, like, mini, like one of our Abhaile Untolds versus a character that I'm going to be playing for an entire campaign, I think I need to have something, or just keep on finding different things that interest me in a more long form character than a short form character. A short form character, you can do whatever you want with a short form character. You can play Bobby Hill if you want.
You can play Bobby Hill. I had somebody. I ran a game, like a 3-part like campaign once, and I had somebody that literally played as Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Perfect.
And they had their own Scooby-Doo.
That's
I've also
wonderful.
had a player play as literally a reincarnated Laios from Dungeon Meshi or Delicious in Dungeon. It's just
I was
like
there. It was hilarious.
you were there for that one, and it was awesome. And she did it so well. So it's just you can do whatever you want.
I've
There's no
actually
rules.
played Hank Hill in a one
You
shot.
have. Perfect.
He was
Thank
a
you, 'cause
paladin.
That's awesome. Hank Hill as a paladin is really funny.
That makes sense. Is
He brought
That
the
does make
propane.
Oh, it's a propane. That was what I was gonna say. Like, is that what he was?
Yeah.
No, that's
Oh, that's
wonderful.
awesome. Oh,
Um,
now I want to play a King of the Hill TTRPG.
there's probably a King of the Hill TTRPG that exists. Like, you can find a TTRPG for anything online.
I shouldn't bring up the Neopets TTRPG.
But yeah, I think that, like, definitely finding something interesting there, finding what motivates you about a certain character, like what is kind of the thing that's at their center there. I think that's a wonderful thing that anyone can take into their stuff. The second idea you brought up is this kind of idea like partnering. Could you speak more on that?
Yeah. I think that there are, and this is kind of not directly contradicting, everything exists on a spectrum. And so this might feel like it's counterintuitive or counterproductive with what I just said. But there's kind of like two ways that we operate at a table. And that's sometimes we get too attached to what we want to happen or what we think is going to happen. And then that makes it really hard. A lot of times I've had people come up to me and be like, how do you know what to say? It feels like you always know how to respond to this dialogue, or you always know what to do. And I'm like, I really don't. I just kind of picked an avenue. Or I will listen to what people have said to me, and I will let that hit me and just respond honestly to that. I'm not trying to make a scene go a certain way usually. And same with you can start subtly trying to pick up on what your DM has in mind too. This isn't always true, but it's especially at the start of a mystery, at the start of a thing, you can really tell what direction the DM is trying to push you to go towards as players. And sometimes it can be really fun to fuck with your DM and be like, I'm actually going to go talk to this NPC that you don't have a name for. But it's if you live in that world, then it makes it impossible to actually enjoy the story, enjoy the work that your DM has put out forth. And so partnering is just letting stuff hit you, listen and just respond honestly to that. And you don't really have to worry much more about that. You don't have to worry about oh god, would my character say this, whatever. It's you've kind of done that to a certain level. Worry about just genuinely responding to what is presented before you.
Some of the greatest lessons I've ever learned for D&D, or performing any kind of character in general, but especially D&D, is in the improv training I've done, because I did an entire unit in my high school theater class about improv. And some of those lessons that you get, not only yes and, but no but, I'm actually gonna I'm not gonna say this is a TTRPG channel. People probably don't know what that means. Yes and is essentially when you don't say no to a given thing. You're just you just add on to it.
Here, let's do an example of not yes-anding each other. Are you ready?
Hey, do you want to go to the park?
No, my grandma just died. Fuck you. Why would you talk to me?
You don't have a grandma.
And there we go. Where does the scene go from there?
Versus, hey, do you want to go to the park?
No, my grandma just died, man.
Oh my god, I didn't even know you had a grandma. What do you like? What's her name?
Yeah, her name is Helen. We were like super close, and
Dude,
I'm
my
so
grandma-
devastated.
Too, and she just died.
No way.
No
Do
way.
we have
Are
the
we?
same grandma?
Oh my god, are you my cousin?
Dude, we're long lost cousins.
Oh my
I didn't
god.
even know.
Can you also
And there we
speak
go.
to donkeys? Yeah.
That would be insane.
That is again. That's an example of yes and. You're kind of adding. You're adding on to the given scene. You're not just kind of like side railing it by just saying no.
It's the slapdown moment, and because the slapdown moment can be used in really specific instances for comedic effect, but it tends to be overused, and if you use it too often, the scene just doesn't have anywhere to go.
It's like bad. Some of the work like bad improv is just all slap, or like
Yeah.
very begin. It's like some very beginner stuff. And like again, in that, and also like you mentioned this too, but not going in with a preconceived notion where a scene should go.
Mhm.
Like you can't just go in and be like, "Hey, my grandma's dead," and like actually, aliens are invading because I wanted aliens to invade. You have to go with what is given to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't have to fully let go of what that notion,
Yeah.
that preconceived notion is, right? But you do have to let it sink to the background and start thinking to yourself as the scene goes on, as you're responding to what's going on in front of you. Is this something that I can bring back in? Because the other thing you don't want to do is walk into a scene and go, "Hey."
What? Oh, this was the beginning of a scene.
Yeah. So you don't just want to walk in and give them nothing.
Yeah, you need to see, because again, that's like a thing of like, oh, I didn't even know you were talking to me, and I think that's like I think that everyone who ever does an actual play needs to take one improv class. I think it just needs to be a beginner improv class, or if you're you either that or you need to be a theater kid who has done an improv thing before, because I think it will
be willing to play in the space.
Yeah. You just need to have the willingness to yes and, or like not automatically sideline things. Because I also think that in that realm of going with your like a preconceived notion, what happens if that doesn't fit the world? Like if you go into a one shot, if you're going into like and like actually I have this character that I want to play already, and your DM says, actually this does not fit the world whatsoever, and you try to force it to fit the world, you kind of screw things over.
Yeah. It just makes it less enjoyable for yourself as well.
Yeah.
Not just everybody else at the table, which it can, but mostly for yourself. Because it's like that idea you have that will certainly belong somewhere. It might not belong in this thing. It's the idea of like killing your darlings.
Yes.
It's really good to craft these things these ideas that you care about, and it's good to go into roleplay as a player, especially as a player, with ideas and with wants and with things you're interested in. But the other thing that you have to be okay with is you have to be okay with letting those things go.
Mm-hmm. I think that there's a wonderful thing about that of like, if you like an idea, you might be able to use it for another character. Like you're not gonna never play D&D again unless somehow like a meteor hits you on your way to your next session. Like there's always going to be another campaign happening, and you can absolutely bring out that that character concept later. Like we are in the can I say this? Jake, you let me know if I can't say this. We're in the process of writing another upcoming adult told right now, and there's a character. One of my character concepts is an idea that I wanted to play for a while, but I've never gotten to. That was rejected in another campaign. And I've always wanted to play something like this, but I've never gotten a chance to. And it's a thing of like, okay, cool. I'm able to hold on to this later, and you're able to do it in the future too. There's always more D&D there.
Yeah. And I also understand, even if you're in a place where there isn't as much D&D because like I used to live in that world too, which is part of the reason why I started a Discord server for more people to be playing more games. Sometimes it's hard to schedule with your group, and so you get really attached to these things that you want to do for your character. I think the thing to keep in mind is at its core, all tabletop role-playing games are a collaborative storytelling. It's collaborative. You're not doing it by yourself. If you wanted to do it by yourself, you could go and play a video game. Or you could go play. There are some very excellent one-person TTRPG games out there. Some indie roles systems. Check those out. But the point is that you want to create something with your friend. It's the whole reason why writers' rooms are so successful. Is it's like more people get to contribute to this thing and build it up into one thing.
It's always nice to have people to bounce off of in a scene, but also like, and again, like working with a partner, but also at the table too. Like some of the greatest moments I think in some of in any campaign is those like moments where two players are just interacting and I as a DM get to sit back for a second. There was a moment in our recent one of our recorded games where the kind of character I play, Hunter, kind of got to reveal a little bit of his backstory, and I think there was a good solid 15 minutes where Jake just didn't have to say anything.
Blessing.
Yeah,
it is a thank you, disembodied voice. It's a great moment just when the players kind of just get to talk.
Yeah. Get to live in the characters. And don't be afraid of talking. I say, oh, Jake, you were going to say something. You first.
Oh, I just wanted to slide in and say, like, because I feel like it's kind of relevant. I'm being a very bad disembodied voice, but
Still disembodied.
I like this. This could just be me and my mental health issues coming out, but I like to. I play a wizard named Rust, and I'm a long form campaign. We're level 17 now. Started off as a baby, and it is. I treat him like he's his own person. I talk to him, not talk to him. I talk about him like he's his own person because
because he is.
When we're every session, I'm learning something new about him. Like I was like 2 sessions ago, I was like, I learned that pisses me the hell off. Don't do that to me ever again. And I'm sitting here thinking it's hilarious, and people are like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, this is the greatest thing ever. Keep doing it." Like it's freaking. He hates it, but I like it. All right, I'm off again.
No, that actually reminded me of 2 other things, which is like, one, you want to leave yourself room for discovery, because that's where magic happens, is whenever you discover something. So it's awesome to have an idea of a character backstory, but for me personally, I've been the most successful if I go in with a loose sketch of who this person is, some things that interest me, and that's about it. And then after I play 1 to 2 to 6 sessions, then I could go and be like, oh, this is who this person is, this is what's happened in their past, but I'm still leaving like some gaps for there to be open to discover more things as we go. And then the other thing was, and I think this is a question that's coming a little bit later, so if you don't want to talk about it now, that's totally fine.
Oh, we can bring it up, absolutely.
Conflict is a good thing. Ooh.
No, let's we're jumping a little bit out of your order here, but yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about some of the conflict stuff. Because also you brought us a couple ideas. I thought there were some really interesting ones in there that also fit into the world of theater. But before we do that, absolutely what you said about discovery. I think that when you're able to kind of give yourself, because here's the thing, when you first play a character, that is not the character. That is a rough outline of them. There's like a solid 3. You get 3 sessions before you actually figure out who on earth you're playing.
I didn't know who the hell Aegon was until like episode 5.
It took me a while to figure out who Hunter was, because I thought I had an idea, and then I played him. I'm like, oh no, this is like someone. This is a completely different person, and the character he has become, again, that same way that Jake talked about, the disembodied voice. It's so interesting finding out things about him when he's exposed to new situations. Of like, because I think that there's, again, like that horse kind of drives itself. Like when I when it's time to play Hunter, the car just like starts going in a certain direction, and I'm like, okay, cool, he's at the wheel. Let's figure out how he responds to this. And there's been moments where I'm like, oh, he's weirdly like okay with this, or like just moments where it's like, oh, I think Hunter would hate this in this moment. And those like little moments of discovery and figuring out who your character is just through action alone is wonderful. But when it comes, you brought in this idea in one of your idea pitches that you think that conflict is a good thing.
I do.
Would you please speak to this point?
I would love to elucidate on this because I do not mean that your players are mad at each other. That is not what I mean by conflict. I think if there's interpersonal conflict between people at the table, that is something that you should resolve outside of the table. It's because like these are your friends. You should like each other. You should talk. I mean conflict in kind of what we were talking about earlier with the improv, the yes and or the no but. Everybody thinks yes and is this kind of like positivity, this kind of like thoughtless positivity, where it's like if you come in and do something crazy, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, that's a totally normal thing to do. Where it's like, no, the way to partner with that is to be uncomfortable by this crazy behavior that this person just did. Or maybe. You can, both are valid, but it depends on the style of the thing you're going for. And so it's like finding these moments of tension, that's more what I'm looking for, between characters, between NPCs and characters in the story, giving your characters obstacles, sometimes with each other. That's where magic happens. Like, I was running a Monster of the Week game a while back, and I had two characters. It was in the other session, one of which was an FBI agent who was coming to investigate the background of this one particular person, and that person had a niece, and both of those, that person and the niece, were both player characters. And the first person Mr. FBI agent found was the niece, and so the FBI agent goes up and is talking to this young 20s girl, and then the aunt comes along, and I am like, yeah, you walk up and you see an FBI agent talking to your young niece. That's like a moment of tension. And everybody looked at me like a little scared for a minute, and I was like, no, guys, trust each other. We all know that we're outside of the table. We all know that we're going to be sitting down and playing for the next 2 hours, and so we know we're not going to like beat each other up, not going to play. We all want to play, but that doesn't mean that we can't find these moments of tension in our storytelling. Because it gives you, I don't know, it gives people more realism.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, and again, like, any kind of simulated conflict, I think some of the greatest moments of RP I've seen at the table is when there are two characters who fundamentally disagree about something. Again, looking at you, Satanta, again, I'm not saying your actual name, I'm saying your character name, YouTube ascends. Like, there were these two characters in my home game who, sorry, I'm still getting over a cold. They were... Dude, this whatever flu is going around right now is terrible.
Let them go.
I got
Let them
sick.
be free.
I got sick a week and 2 days ago, and I still feel bad. I still can't laugh.
That sucks.
No, it's terrible.
Let this person have some joy back.
I can laugh, it just turns into a cough, which sucks, because one of the best comedies on TV, this show's when we're recording this, just came out. The new season just came out, and we've been watching it. I love Ted. The Ted TV show is wonderful, and I keep on, when we're watching it, I can't stop coughing.
No!
But one of the greatest moments in that is there are these two characters. One was actively dying. He had a curse put on him that was slowly turning him to stone. And the other character had a object, a magical item that could break curses and kind of turn that into magical energy. He did not want to break his curse, and they did not want him to die a useless death. And so there were multiple scenes where the two of them were just like butting heads against one another. And they're also, they're partners in real life too. So I know that like that was a completely, like non-real argument. But it is some of the richest RP. And I think that there is, again, what you said, there's some kind of beauty to the conflict there, because you get to get some really, really wonderful interactions out of it.
Yeah. Like, and even if it's like outside of the characters a little bit too, there's a game of Triangle Agency that we're playing, which is a game system that is incredible and amazing, and everybody should go look up right now. Right now, look it up. Triangle Agency. It will change your life. But there's a
Don't
mechanic.
click off this video, though. Don't click off this video.
Wait.
Still give us the runtime.
You're right. Maybe in about 30 minutes, go look up Triangle Agency. I don't know what time it is. However long.
We are 35 minutes in, so yeah, probably 30.
Anyways, there's a mechanic in the game where, depending on what you do in your role play, you can earn commendations from the agency, or you can earn demerits, which are a negative thing. And so it is I am constantly trying to push and trick my other players into earning demerits, because it's really fucking funny. And it's fun because you're giving problems to your players for them to overcome. Like, I'm not doing it in like a mean way. Like, there's one character who earns demerits every time she lies. And so every time we're in a situation where I'm talking to somebody and I have to tell a lie, I just go, I don't know, Sock, what do you think? And Sock, the character, can't lie. And so then the player has to then figure some other way through the situation, right? And so it's like, you're honestly giving your scene partners and fellow players a gift.
Could you explain what giving a gift means, and at least in the terms of acting?
I certainly can try. So giving a gift means you're giving somebody something to respond to. So like we were saying earlier with partnering, it's like you want to let stuff hit you. You also have to do the same thing for your friends. And it's a lot easier to know how to respond to something or to have a variety of things to respond with if the thing that has been said to you or done to you gives you a conflict or is a strong big swing. Like if somebody throws open a door and points at you and says, I hate your guts, go and die. Like, that's a lot easier to be like, yo, what the hell, than if somebody just like walks in and looks at you, you know?
Yeah. It, like, when you're giving someone a lot to react to, or like a big old steak to chew on, like there's a lot of meat on that bone for what you can do in that scene. Absolutely. That is some of the best stuff you can get as a role player. There's a really wonderful moment, another talking about campaign in conflict in the campaign. This happened in our live stream game. This was there was a character that had just joined the party. She was a cleric. And we are not murder hobo-esque, but we're a little murder hobo-esque. Our wizard there was these kind of like fascist guards who like showed up and like he was like, hey, you gotta like give us money now or else we're gonna kill you. And then we were like, no, we're not gonna give you money. And so combat started. We slaughtered them all, but the person who was new to the party was like, "Oh my god, they were surrendering. Why did we just kill them all?" Because they didn't know about the characters and their history, and there was a giant multi-session argument between the characters of Nolani and Tome, and there was like a lot of different stuff. I have to like. God, Finicky, I hope you're watching this, because she is one of the best role players. Like, every time I'm in a scene with her, it is gold, because, again, she is very good at yes-anding, or, like, she knows that character inside and out. It's, like, it's wonderful to go up against a juggernaut like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not gonna lie, real quick.
Stop it.
Is single-handedly responsible for turning our table around. Like,
yes,
because we are not a theater kid table at all. And
the only one.
You're the only real one for sure. I think I'm an honorary one, and by some degree, I bought a lot of weed from theater kids when I was in college.
That counts.
You know, but everybody was very timid. Everybody was very agreeable. There's a social geek fallacy of not wanting to go against a friend. So Tome, our robot wizard, he was just going crazy. He was borderline going on evil, and everybody was just going along with it. And Finicky Fox comes in with her life cleric and basically fist fights him and shows the table that it's okay to fist fight him and check him on his stupid shit because he's being stupid. You need to not go along with this or you're gonna become the bad guys.
Do you have any like stories of like moments where people had conflict at the table, like different characters that you can think of? Yes.
I'm usually the one causing conflict at the table, to be honest. The gentleman that I do the podcast, Tales of the Other Side with, they're wonderful. I only knew the DM going into joining that podcast. He and I had met and worked on a short film together in college and had hung out a handful of times outside of that, and that was about it. The other two guys, I'd met one of them once, but we didn't really remember it. And so we were like figuring out who we were as people while also sitting down and playing this game together. And so the first few sessions were a little bit, because I love to cause conflict at a table as my character, right? And so the first few sessions were a little bit like us trying to find our footing with that because I wouldn't necessarily, this is conflict, but I was being really cringe and embarrassing. I built Aegon to be kind of a hot mess. And so I was playing her as a hot mess, and they kept being like, yep, this is totally normal. Aegon's really cool. And I was like, no, she's not. You're supposed to be weirded out by this. And so it was just a lot of like doubling down even harder until they finally were like, you have to stop. And then I was like, no, guys, this is the thing. And they were like, oh, we thought that was just you. And I was like, yeah, no.
I do think that there's an inherent comedy that where they're like, oh, this like being like this character is a freak versus Jordan is a freak.
Which, like, yeah, sure, I can also be very cringe and embarrassing. I would argue that all players are a reflection of self, at least in some way, right? Because I think
that there's something inherent to that of like there is something, and again, it's that like I like the acting theory of like whatever character you play is somehow based. There's something from yourself that you pull out and play that in that character. Like it's always an extension of the self in some regard, and that is one thing that I think that Jake does really well when we're doing character creation for stuff, because there's on like the character creation sheets that he usually gives us. It's what story are you interested in telling with this character, or like in what way is this character like yourself, which gets really interesting when you're playing a character that is inherently dehumanizing to themselves and only sees their self-worth as their value. Hey, I'm doing fine.
Hey, but also player does not, like, the character is not self. It's the same with like acting roles. Like I play a lot of villains, actually. I get cast as villains quite frequently because I'm really good at humanizing behavior. I would say I'm a pretty decent person in my life. I try to be. I try to learn, try to keep an open ear. I would say I'm not Agatha from The Moors by Jen Silverman.
Shout out to The Moors. That is...
Shout out to The Moors. Hey, that's a really good play. If anybody's not a play person, I think you might read that and change your minds.
I know my wife is definitely in the other room, and here's this conversation is now also thinking about The Moors, but also because they were doing costumes for The Moors too.
And they did so well. Those costumes were so awesome.
God, I wish I could have seen that. Unfortunately, I was bedridden at the time.
Oh, Will.
No,
you missed out. It's a good one.
I know. There is a wonderful thing though, because I couldn't see it because again I was bedridden because I was having a severe heart episode that made me bedridden.
That sucks.
Don't drink multiple energy drinks a day. Like don't have 3 energy drinks a day in your early 20s.
Hey, listen, I know you're in college and I know you might have undiagnosed ADHD, but drinking multiple energy drinks is bad for your heart. It will catch up with you.
Don't go into tachycardia because of energy drinks. It is, don't have to have your heart shocked back. It is not a fun experience. I didn't have to have my heart shocked back, thankfully, but I was close to having them have to have my heart shocked back.
So scary.
It is terrifying. Hey, Jake. Hey, Jake. I know you can hear me right now. I know you're watching this. Not you, Jake. Other Jake who watches
Hey,
this
other
show.
Jake.
Hey, other Jake. Don't do this. I'm really freaking out any listener named Jake right now.
Hey,
really.
Jake, every single Jake I know your garbage can is full of monster cans right now. I know you're thinking about G Fuel. Stop it.
Get some help. We are absolutely
Just drink water.
Anyone named Jake. This is what happens when you put two theater kids in a room together. Again, and that's actually a really good example of yes anding too. Building off
life is improv. Everything is improv. This is the thing. The acting BFA was one of the most helpful degrees I could have gotten to just be a person out in the world.
Yeah. God, one of the came in more one of the best DMing advice. This is so off topic, but also one of the best piece of DMing advice also came from my high school directing class. Thank you, Karen Kessler, director of the Moors.
Thank you, Karen Kessler, director of the Moors, and
Karen
many
Kessler.
Other beautiful, wonderful works.
And also many other plays. But in her directing class that I was in, one of the lessons that they gave us was that I take so often is a great way to make people think that they are making the choice on their own is by giving them multiple choices that you have built and you know where each of them will go, and then letting them pick one of those because they feel like they're like, okay, cool, that is my choice. Like, I think I am going down that way, when really it is a predetermined choice that you have already accounted for.
Yes.
The Venn diagram of so many of the lessons I learned in that directing class are also like lessons that apply to DMing.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I feel the same way. It's whenever I'm asking characters questions during sessions or asking people sessions, I'm always asking them from the perspective of like me as an actor knowing where this is going, like picking up what they're putting down and being like, okay, great. Is it like this or is it like this? Or what is this thing? And asking it in such a way that they're like, oh, I do have to think about this and go down this path. Or actually, no, it's this other thing and I'll go down this other path. And then I go, oh, awesome. I love being surprised.
I love acting. I just love character work. I think
people.
I love. This is why I always prefer being in a play to being in a musical. Because don't get me wrong, I love being in a musical. I also hate choreography.
If you don't like choreography, it's hard to enjoy being in a musical.
Very bad at choreo, but I just love getting into a character, and I love finding out who they are through playing them.
Absolutely. Something that is true about me in life is I like to understand why people are like that. I like to know why people enjoy things. I like to know why people don't enjoy things. I want to know why somebody would make a choice that they made. Like, genuinely, not even in a judgmental way. I'm so curious. And so acting is it's a logic puzzle, truthfully. When you're handed a script, you have all the pieces in front of you of who this person is, and now you have to figure out who this person is based off of all of the information.
That is, yeah, absolutely. I love that. Well, we have about 10-ish minutes left here. Is there anything we can also go over a little bit too. But is there anything that when it comes to weaponizing your BFA that we have not covered yet that you would like to talk about still? Or any other ideas that you thought about?
Yeah, let me just go. We've touched a lot of these things before, but I'm just gonna quick go through the bullet point list. 1, unlearn your impulse control. Next thing is, what was the next thing that I said? Immediately I'm forgetting my own bullet points.
Partner work.
Partner with everything. Everything's a partner. The wind is a partner. The way your back hurts is a partner. How you're sitting in the chair is a partner. The things your partner says to you is a partner. Partner with it. So let things affect you. Conflict isn't a bad thing. Conflict is actually a good thing. Sometimes the best way forward, the best gift you can give to your fellow players is by disagreeing with them as characters, not as a player. I mean, you can also disagree with them as a player, but I mean more in the role play. Last two, can I count? I don't think I can count. That's 4. We're on number 4. Take big swings, make big choices. That's, once again, you are doing your partners a service. And I know it feels embarrassing, and I get it. Every time I go to act for the first time, it is the most humiliating thing that I've ever done. Every single time I'm working a monologue or I have to get up in a rehearsal room, I'm like, this is the most embarrassing thing ever in the world, and I'm going to die here on the spot. And then I do it for real one time, and then it's fine. And then I'm fine, and then I'm in it. So it's like every time I sit down at a table and it's time to bust out character voice for the first time, I'm like, this is a humiliation ritual. I'm being hazed. Everything sucks. And then you just get into it, and then everybody's having a better time because of it. This is also sub-point to 4. I think clown more often. Be more cool with making a fool of yourself in your TTRPG and in public. It's good for the soul. It only raises the spirits of those around you. If you're struggling to get into knowing what to do, getting into the head of your character, a really basic place to start is, what does your character want? So if you go into a scene and you're like, I don't know why I'm here, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to talk to these people, just think about, okay, what do I want? What do I want when I walk into this room? Is it that I want to defeat the evil wizard? Is it that I want to find the secret to immortality? Do I want to fall in love with another person at the table? Like, what is the character's want when they go into a scene? And that's a really great jumping off point. That's like acting day 1. They're expecting you got to know what you want. It's the first questions that they ask you when you're working any sort of monologue or scene is, okay, great.
Your objective?
What is your objective? What do you want? And if you don't know the answer, you're absolutely going to get ripped to the shreds. So that's also advice for anybody that's going into acting out there. You got to know what you want.
Yeah.
You have to know what you want. Have to. You must.
The like goal, objective, action, tactic is burned into my brain of like, cool, what do I want? What am I doing in this scene to get what I want? What are the specific actions I'm taking in this scene to try and accomplish that?
Yeah. And then that's kind of going along with what I was saying earlier of like having a goal in mind when you go into scenes, having an idea, but being okay with letting it go, because you are actively responding to what's going on around you. If I think to myself, okay, I'm gonna steal the keys out of this person's pocket, and I try and I fail, and if I keep trying in that exact same way over and over again, I'm not going to get anywhere. Where it's like, okay, I tried this one thing and that didn't work, so let me try in this other way. Or let me try this third thing, and I just running up and grabbing it didn't work. Let me try to convince somebody else to get it. Or what if I can say, hey, look over there, and distract him? Or what if I can tackle him to the ground? And so there's so many different ways to get what you want. And so explore those as well. And maybe you have to let go of what you want, because sometimes another person in a scene will have a stronger want than you, and that's a good thing.
Yes. Sometimes you're not the main character.
Sometimes you're not the main character. And this is... Ooh, okay, great. And then the last thing I'll say about conflict, going back a couple, is you do also want to make sure that you keep in mind that you're here to have a good time with your friends. And introducing conflict is a good thing. But you also don't want to be stopping the momentum of the thing so heavily that your fellow players and your DM are no longer having a good time.
Yes.
So that's why I mentioned the thing of don't hold on to your want. Introduce your want. Give it as a thing. Give it as an offer. You're offering this to the table, and let them pick it up if they want. That's another improv charm, is everything you do is an offer, right? So it's like having strong offers. But if nobody picks up on your offer, you can offer it a couple of times maybe, but eventually find a different offer. What else? What else? What else? What else? It's gone. I had another thought, and then it left me. Must not have been important.
We do
spent
have
4 years getting that BFA.
Hey, I mean, giving it for free in a couple minutes is wonderful.
I'll do it for anyone, anytime. If you have a specific element of art that you're trying to create, and you're like, man, I don't know how to go about this, and maybe a BFA could help me, let me know. I'll get on a call and talk to you for 2 hours.
And that has been an offer from Jordan. We have 2 fan questions for today. Number 1 comes from it does come from Finicky, actually. Finicky in the Discord. If you want to have your questions answered on the show, go ahead, join us in the Discord section, in the towel section down below. We right before these recording things, a couple hours beforehand, you can submit questions, and they'll get answered on the show. We're kind of at a point right now where we put most of them in. Number 1. This is from Finicky. I'd be interested to know in what ways a theater kid helps or hinders in a game.
Okay. They help by making can help by making strong offers, and by being willing to play ball and go all the way with their character voice, knowing who they are, backstory, all of that. That is a theater kid in my mind. Some ways that theater kid can sometimes hinder is sometimes forgetting that they are playing a game with a lot of other people in the room.
Yes.
And I think that this is something that I've been thinking about this week, and then another friend of mine and I were talking in relationship to another game that we're playing, where we're so scared of being like a selfish player that sometimes we are stopping ourselves from making interesting choices because we're like, oh, I don't just want to like run off by myself and do this thing because that's kind of a selfish player move. But sometimes when you stop yourself from doing that impulse, whatever that is, then your brain starts to subconsciously find other ways to like outlet that thing, which can sometimes be more selfish because then you're constantly trying to turn the narrative in such a way that it's focusing on the thing, versus make the selfish choice to run off and go do something by yourself, discover what that is, and if it's nothing, turn around and walk back. And if it's not, then you get to have a beautiful, awesome story moment.
I think that's a wonderful answer there.
It's my call is coming from inside the house theory. Sometimes we are so scared of what lives inside of us that we run from it in such a way that we become it. Sometimes you just gotta lean in and discover that it's not you.
It's the like Dark Knight motto. Sometimes you'll live long enough for. Wow, that quote completely failed me.
Got you. I know you. Yep. I don't have it either, though.
Hero, live long enough to see yourself become villain.
Yep, there it is.
We got there eventually. Jesus Christ.
I felt people who know that quote on the edges of our periphery.
I truly, I felt there are people who are screaming it at the screen right now.
The ghosts of our ancestors were gazing upon us in that moment.
The ghost of my ancestors, my dad is gazing at me right now and is like, he doesn't watch the show, but he's definitely in this moment being like, come on, that is my dad's favorite movie. I think that's every favorite movie of our generation.
Wouldn't know, didn't have one.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, in like the cool lesbian parents way.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I
didn't mean to scare you like that.
No, I'm so defaulted as a teacher. When people say they don't have a dad, I don't know how to respond to that, and I immediately go.
Yeah, because usually kids do drop really horrible, traumatic lore, just really casual, and then it
is terrifying. I don't know how to respond to it.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I'm actually so sorry for that. I should have said that.
No, it's so funny. It was very funny. Don't worry.
It was always one of my favorite bits in high school and sometimes in college when somebody would be talking to me about their dad and then they'd inevitably turn to me knowing that I have lesbian parents. This is the key thing. They'd had to know that my parents were lesbians. And then they'd be like, well, what about your dad? And so then I would just start lying. I remember this one time in high school Spanish class, I had this guy believing my dad was a pro wrestler for a good 15 minutes before he remembered that I don't have one.
That's so funny.
Right?
Lying is so funny to people.
It's only funny when they know that you're lying to you eventually.
What was his
I think
wrestler name?
Oh God, I don't remember that part. I had this whole thing. I know that he wore like a purple unitard. That was like part of it, but
That's stupid.
and then he had like a lot, like really long, like longer hair than I had. I had hair like down to my ass at the time, and I think I said that his hair was longer than mine.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was like I was truly just I kept because it's like you gotta keep adding the ridiculous level to it until eventually they're like, wait a second, you're lying to me.
We have a joke. We have a joke question as well that was submitted. If you were the CEO of a major fast food chain, do you think that you would like your food?
Yes. That has to be a base requirement. I feel like that should be a base requirement for anybody who's a CEO of anything. Is you personally have to genuinely like, enjoy, and use whatever fucking product you're selling. Because if you don't,
why are you the CEO?
Why are you selling it to us?
Yes, absolutely. I think there needs to be more CEOs like Sam Reich out there. Not in the torturing your friends part, but a little bit in the torturing your friends part.
But this is like what we're saying earlier about conflict and that about tension. It's like you can only do this with people you know well enough to be able to do this with, but it's like that giving people something to fight against is truly like where living is. And that's where magic storytelling happens, and that's where people discover things about themselves and find joy and emotions.
Hell fucking yeah. That, and also, do you know when the McRib is back?
If I knew when the McRib was back, I think that I would have some level of psychic powers that I don't have right now, and maybe some sway on how the universe could spin.
That's wonderful. See, that is theater kid work in action, because you said something that was deeply profound and serious, and then I'm like, the funniest thing I can do to this is then ask the follow-up to this question.
Yeah,
of what
the McRib. And that's a slap down that's not a slap down.
Our final segment from this week is something I flagrantly stole from the Pop Culture Happy Hour. They always end their show for the week with, oh, I can feel my voice going, with what's making you happy this week. So Jordan, what is making you happy this week? It can be something that you're working on, something you just saw, anything like that.
Yeah. Okay. What's making me happy this week is I have been becoming a musical theater person again because my friend JJ and I are writing a musical together right now. And we're kind of like getting towards a 30-minute musical, just kind of as a writing exercise to see if we can. And we're kind of getting towards the end of that, and I'm starting to like see the shape of the thing that we've written together. And so that's really exciting to me. And then the other thing is I am rereading a book series that I'm about to recommend to everybody. And it's called The Scum Villains Self-Saving System. Yes,
Ooh.
Yes, it is yaoi. However, it's very good yaoi. And it's also a transmitigation novel, if you're familiar with those. So it's like the guy read the book and then died and got transported into the book, except for he got transported into the body of like the worst villain ever. And so he's like trying to like save himself from a really horrible, awful fate, but doesn't realize that the genre of the novel has changed into a yaoi novel.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh, it's very good. It's like extraordinarily well written.
That's so cool. Yeah, I love that. I have to check that out. It's the Scum Villains Self-Saving System.
Yes, the Scum Villains Self-Saving System. This is by the same author who wrote the series The Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, which was turned into the TV show The Untamed, which you may or may not have heard of.
I've heard the name.
Popular. Yes, Untamed has been very, very popular on Tumblr space for a long time. It's a wildly popular C-drama.
Hell yeah. My two things that I'm very happy about this week. Number one, I have also been getting back into the theater space. I am currently in a play right now I'm not going to say where because I don't want to dox myself. But it is really, it is so fun to be back doing things. I've missed the feeling of doing theater for the longest time, and it is so fun to be in that space again. My second thing is that over the past week or so, I have written 55 pages of a movie.
Hell yeah, you have. Hey, we should talk.
Yeah, absolutely. This is for a Discord server I'm in. Friend of the pod, Dylan Roth, his Discord server for the pod universe. I wrote a 66-page script for that one of like a film of some kind. And I had a reading last week that went super well, and I'm now writing the sequel to that. And I'm going to give you the pitch because it's objectively stupid and I love it.
Okay, and Slaughterhouse was an incredible movie.
It is a so imagine this. It's Annihilation meets The Wicker Man. A group of agents have to go into a strange town where there's been readings of demonic activity happening. It just so happens that that team consists of the protagonist from the previous one, Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, Gomez and Pugsley Adams, and Frankie Stein from Monster High.
Yes, it does.
And the town that they're investigating is Stars Hollow from the Gilmore Girls.
Yes.
It is a horror movie take on the Gilmore Girls, where you have a team of investigators in this secret agency devoted to the paranormal has to take on the weird demonic energy that is coming out of Stars Hollow.
So my follow-up question is, how much time have you spent on fanfiction.net?
Too much. This is objectively fanfiction. This is fanfiction of fanfiction.
But whenever you get to that point of writing fanfiction, it is just fiction. Yeah. Like I was talking to my friend Lisa about this the other day, where it's like we sometimes enjoy reading fanfiction for media that we have not engaged with at all, because then we get to just engage with it as really good writing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is technically fan fiction because again, it's set in a existing universe, and I'm using these existing characters in it. I could not turn this into an actual movie. I could never sell this to anybody. I way too many pre-existing characters. I mean, they're all owned by Universal, but still, I could not sell the movie to anyone. No one would want it. It is hilarious, though. I love because the prequel movie to this is a horror slasher take on The Breakfast Club, which is
no way. I was in a movie in high school called The Zombie Club that was an anti-bullying zombie film that was basically The Breakfast Club.
That's wonderful. I think The Breakfast Club it works perfectly as a horror movie because it's all set in one location, and schools are fucking terrifying.
They're so scary, especially when they're empty.
An empty school at night, or like when it's basically abandoned, is one of the most terrifying buildings you can be.
It's already a horror movie, though.
What is it?
Breakfast Club. They're constantly avoiding the principal or the teacher. I can't remember his name for the life of me right now. God,
I can't remember the name of the vice principal, but I did name him Vice Principal Hughes after John Hughes in my script.
But yeah, they're constantly avoiding him like he is the monster. He has a tremendous amount of power over them. I mean, it's kind of like I'm being a cheap ass here, but you know.
No, but absolutely, and I think that's why it works. I think that's why The Breakfast Club works. Slasher movie. It's also a slasher movie where instead of being chased around the school by the principal, it is a like Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees type. But man, I love writing horror. It's so fun. We need to talk after this.
Dude, we should talk after this.
Well, it is closing time at the tavern here. Is there any shout outs that you would like to make before you go? Anyone, or anything that you need to plug?
I'll plug my actual play podcast that I'm on with my good friends Matthew, Nathan, and Noah. You mentioned at the top, it's The Last Colossus, or Tales of the Other Side, The Last Colossus. I think we do some fun stuff over there. I'll also just shout out all of my friends over in the We Are Playing Games Discord server. Thank you for playing so many games. Y'all are great. Y'all have pushed me as a storyteller, as a DM, and as a player. And I appreciate that always. And I also love playing games with y'all. And also shout out Will. Thanks for inviting me onto this.
Thank you so much. It is, Jordan, you are truly a pleasure whenever we get to sit down and talk. Again, this is the premise of the show. I love bringing on people to talk about things that they're very passionate about. Because I think when people talk about things that they're passionate about, it makes me really excited as well. Well, I can actively feel my voice going. So I think that it is now closing time. Thank you all so much for watching. We will see you next time in the tavern. Keep telling stories. Be good people. Peace out.